Hi everyone, welcome to this new session of Languages in a Virus. Hello to the friends that have been participating in past sessions and also some friends that are here for the first time. And we want to say hello especially to Jèssica Pujol. Bona tarda, Jèssica, benvinguda. Parlarem en català toda la tarda.
Buena.
Algo ahí. And yeah, we're very happy to continue this series with people from lots of different countries, discipline, experience, studies, traditions, and also languages. I guess we'll talk a lot with Jèssica about languages and translation. Maybe it's one of her obsessions, of course. Well, some of you don't know Jèssica. She comes from Mataró in Catalonia, a country which is near Spain. And she studied also in England, and she's living in Chile for like 4 years now, or?
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, she has been researching here in Chile at our university, Universidad Santiago. We're very happy that she has been with us these last years. And she has published books in Spanish, in Catalan, and in English, and also has translated a lot in those languages. And she has participated in very different projects in Creator Press, in Alba Journal, and she has researched a lot on experimental literature, experimental poetry, and also about the translation, experimental translation, and the links between different cultural contexts. So in a way, this series of dialogues we were making, we have been organizing with Martín Vaquero since April, is very related to the spirit of the things that you like to research and do and think. So we're very happy that Jèssica is here with us today. And as always, please, if you can read us or make some noise or whatever about your work, and then we will start the conversation. Welcome, Jèssica.
¿Ya ves un cañito?
Well, thank you, Felipe,
Digan a nadie.
for inviting me.
Esta conexión.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's very nice to see all your faces together in one in one screen at once, after not seeing many faces or the same ones every day. I hope like that we can touch each other soon and see each other soon again, because I guess it's like I've been doing some readings on Zoom, and it's not the same, definitely. But the good thing is that we can all be here from different countries, different places, different times, right? I'm in Fremont in California at the moment. We've been like hiding here from the pandemic. In Chile, it was also very hard with a 1-year-old to work and live in a small flat. So, and yeah, thank you. And it's been very difficult to choose what, because of these 3 languages you're talking about. Like, I was doubting, shall I read in Catalan, shall I read in English? So what can I do? And I have like a plaquette that is called Mare that Virna Teixeira published a couple of years ago. That is a dream, and in my dreams normally the 3 languages mixed all together. And I thought maybe I could read that. It's quite like sound based, but then again, like I always like to read what I'm doing last. So in a way, like failing, because it's the first time I'm going to be doing it. And but I like that because I like to see what's happening with it. And what I'm doing at the moment is in Spanish, so it's going to be in Spanish. There is a book that is called El Campo Envolvente, The Enveloping Field, we published with Creator like one of the poems of the book in January with a letterpress. Maybe some of you have it. But now I'm going to read another poem from the book that is called El Ciclo de las Baristas, the Baristas Cycle. I used to be a barista in London. That was my first degree because I got like a degree from training that I did. And I have very fond memories, very interesting memories anyway about it. And I always wanted to write about it. So there you go. I'll be drinking a coffee meanwhile. Okay, I start with 3 epigraphs, one by Alice Notley from this poem, Congratulating Wedge, that says, and you have this clear head and you are seeing things and there they are. You don't notice they are spelled. That's how you know you're alive. I never saw you. This one is from Sean Bonney from Lamentations. Say they have choked us with black sugar, ask who are these custodians of yesterday's rebellions, insist that it really happened, we are not at all imaginary. You wake up, you open your eyes, there is a border separates us, the deserving, the undeserving dead. Post, no miracles. And one from Verity Spot, from Click Away, Close Door Say, that says, now receive word that your goddess has fucked off. Subjugate the remnants of your promise into anger at your stuff. This will take like 10 minutes or so. It's a long poem. Después de que el metro abra las puertas, después de que el centro comercial abra las puertas, después de abrir las persianas y de que una contraseña abra las puertas a mi jornada laboral, con el calzado adecuado, mi nombre en la etiqueta, accedo a mi puesto, encendemos las máquinas, represento la coreografía de los gestos. Al otro lado del pasillo, una cabra de cartón anuncia la sección de quesos del supermercado. Un salto ungulado como los que desprenden piedras de los peñascos del Mediterráneo, por encima de mesas, tés y pastas, es lo que me separa del almuerzo. El supervisor, a mi derecha, trata de compensar con gestos estrictos el estricto papel secundario de su franquicia. Me pica la mano. La leche no tiene espuma. Tuerzo la lengua hacia afuera. Francamente, Ernesto, entro. Texto, aquí, valo. Asciendo por las sendas elípticas del centro comercial, llameante como los fuegos de arbustos del verano, brincando, cabreada, a punto de dar el cambio en la caja, vuelvo a bajar. Por las escaleras mecánicas con mi ubre inmensa, amamanto este orden filiforme de entrada y salida, una mezcla de espuma y ceniza espolvorea las piedras amarillas. Giro la manivela del espumador. Por cada café con leche en la superficie, con pequeñas vibraciones de la muñeca, trazo un corazón. Por cada posibilidad de que tú aparezcas, por las vueltas del mostrador, percibo un nuevo imaginario en torno al bello gesto, los bellos ojos, los dorados cabellos, aceleran las horas de mi contrato. Aunque tú no eres la excusa para esto, esto no es un capricho. Llegaba tarde y nos topamos en el metro y no me dejaste pasar. ¿Qué marca de quitagrasa utilizas tú? Yo no tengo tiempo para incorporar la burocracia de la renta anual a mi jornada. Y si resbalo, ¿cómo será como el seguro? Intercambios infligidos, paños sucios y rasgados, labios bien pintados, lavar los paños, lavar las manos, perfilar los labios. Me muevo sigilosamente, durga impasible, en cada mano un utensilio. Recorro las botellas de los jarabes, mis dedos en las etiquetas, plátano, almendra, fresa, vainilla, avellana, albaricoque. La viscosidad afluye, recuerdo todos sus nombres y lamo los bordes. Mi supervisor me pica la mano cuando no inclino correctamente la jarra de calentar la leche en el espumador para texturizarla a 60 grados. Yo soporto el peso de la taza en el plato con la cucharita, el azúcar, el biscotti de cordialidad. Mi cuerpo es frío y viene del futuro. No cualquier relato sirve, el poder desenfocado, la costumbre del abuso en el significante, la búsqueda del timbre de tu voz en otros cuerpos. Pruebo suerte con otro tiempo del verbo, quizás nunca cruces estas puertas. Un viaje alterado, un vocabulario deshecho y toda la novedad desenfocada en el tablero sináptico que se ilumina por acierto y por error, por acierto y por error, por acierto y por error, serpentinamente. Antes de tropezar con la maleza bailábamos danzas intersubjetivas en el borrajo. Alicia, tu cara en mi mar, una lágrima. El lenguaje incorporado no tenía cuerpo, pero aquí todo son faltas como demasiado poco, demasiado. Ahora tiemblo imaginándome de cháchara sobre el clima con el cliente, de cháchara sobre la planificación semanal con los compañeros, de cháchara sobre la inclinación de la jarra en el espumador con mi supervisor. Mi nueva lengua dicharachera no se identifica con mi viejo cuerpo contenedor y yo tiemblo en la relación. Perder la distancia por una mentira informativa es un ejemplo. Perder la distancia por un murmuro tóxico es un ejemplo. Perder la distancia por un recuerdo almidonado de tu abuso es un ejemplo, es otro ejemplo del temblor. Mis movimientos entrecortados por la reflexión entrecortada por su trascendencia. La idea se remonta al ser pleno, la mancha de café a la quemadura al tacto. No somos para nada imaginarias. En cada reverberación se va enjuagando la conciencia. Esta es mi jornada laboral. Di, ¿cuánto falta para que llegue? Tarareamos, ¿cuánto faltará? ¿Cuánto faltará? El trayecto de las manecillas es largo. Mi productividad encerrada en la cárcel de este imaginario. Lejía y jarabe, una cadena de conceptos. Laura, ¿cuánto faltará? Las burbujas en la superficie enfriada exhalan aire líquido. Nuestras sonrisas se superponen como las estampas en las cartulinas de fidelización de los clientes. Las cimbras que unen nuestra bóveda láctea son lenguaje coloquial. Giro, la manivela, go, nuestro baile evaporado. Tarareamos juntas hasta la nómina por el espacio uniformado. Los cuerpos de los trabajadores circulan sin tocarse por el pavimento que reúne nuestras células muertas como matojos rodando. Este es el oeste de la costumbre. Aquí los jarabes, las galletas y la repostería tienen el sabor de la marca. El café es de libre comercio, las leches no tienen lactosa. La travestía es solitaria, Lucky. Bostezo mientras barro. ¿Qué importa terminar ahora, colega? Nos engulle la futilidad de los turnos. Barro el suelo de la cafetería tras 8 horas. Busco trabajo en los clasificados. En 3 jornadas de training se aprende lo básico. Soy muy comunicativa. Fui a la escuela. Estoy disponible en varios idiomas. La reinvención del sí misma. Nos comemos los sándwiches caducados. Antes de que el metro cierre sus puertas, antes de que el centro comercial cierre sus puertas, hemos apagado los botones de la máquina del café, hemos limpiado los filtros, la manivela del vapor, hemos sacado el polvo a las sillas y mesas de madera, hemos encendido el lavaplatos, hemos repuesto las botellas en la nevera, los jarabes en la estantería, las galletas en los contenedores de vidrio, los pasteles en el aparador, los biscotti en el cajón, hemos apartado los productos caducados, hemos vaciado la caja, hemos apagado las luces del establecimiento, hemos cerrado las puertas, hemos bajado las persianas. Acompañémonos tiernamente a la sala de los trabajadores, deshagámonos, dejemos en el casillero nuestro nombre, el calzado, la égida y bajemos juntas al metro, yo inhalando, tú exhalando el humo de un liado para terminar en el sofá donde concluye el periplo circadiano de las baristas. El uniforme sin nombre se seca al colgado de una percha en el dormitorio. Los restos de la cena se secan en el plato. La colada contiene el aire en una bolsa de plástico. Pregunta, ¿cuánto falta para llegar? El campo envolvente aumenta su tamaño con la impresión de lo no nombrado. Cuando en el almacén de ángulos muertos aparecen traducciones fisiológicas, se pasea el zorro por mi ventana. Pruebo suerte con otro tiempo del verbo. Prueba que no termina la relación en el sueño. un viaje alterado, se calculaba un cambio de dirección en la relación consigo misma, una versión más adaptada a las circunstancias que encuadran nuestro horizonte, una parábola que no regresará, cómo se fue, cómo va a ser, que regrese, cómo era, ay, no sé, Marcel, no me acuerdo. Había 4 puntos que había que cambiar para que pudiera ser como debía ser. Principalmente ahora sí que me acuerdo. Estos eran los puntos 1, 2, 3 y 4. Los he analizado mientras los nombraba y estoy de acuerdo conmigo mismo. Asiento conmigo mismo. Es necesario un cambio, es ineludible. Otro sujeto, me atreveré a decir, otro era una cáscara, debería presentarse reluciente a su vuelta, debería ser esta de ahora en adelante y hasta futuro cambio. Júbilo, familiar, se abren las persianas, son las 6 de la mañana. Esto no es un capricho. That's it.
Thank you very much, Jessica. And there's some open. Oh, okay. And yeah, I just wanted to make you a couple of questions, and then everyone can join. The first is it has to do with what we were talking before about the different the use of different languages, and also something that I think is very interesting. Sometimes, especially when we are very deep into experimental poetry, we used to think that the only dimension that we can play with sound is also the phonetic dimension, and or maybe the use of digital effects and whatever. But every kind of poetry has its sound dimension, and I think in your case especially, even there were only legible words in what you read, but you're always playing with some rhythm, and especially I don't know, I have this idea of reading other of your books, and other of your books in different languages. There's a kind of speed or acceleration that you put when you're reading, but also that you can feel when someone reads your book. I don't know, maybe it has to do with some repetitions, with the length of the verse, whatever. I mean, there are a lot of different devices that can put some different velocities, even in a printed text. So I would like to talk about first that rhythm dimension of your poetry, which is, as I say, not only counting syllables. I mean, it's more complex, and also if there's some difference when you are writing in different languages about that rhythm. Maybe you read different in English than in Spanish or Catalan. I don't know. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, and I think because it really feels personal. I think rhythm has all the elements that I don't know how to express it. It's difficult, exactly, because with rhythm is easier than with words. Actually, words are just there, and you can be talking about coffee as you can be talking about making cakes. I don't know. It's not so much the meaning of the words as it's like the verba and the rest. No, you have the verba as the rhythm, no, the word in itself, the materiality as well, and you have the rest, no, what it means. I think that the verb carries a meaning, no, obviously, and I focus very much on this, I guess. It's not that I do it on purpose, but now I'm almost 38, and I think, like, after publishing and writing for many, many years, I can see that definitely what I focus more is on the meaning of this verba. And and of course, why am I here? Why talking with this language is a virus, and mostly surrounded by some poets, and normally I don't know why hanging out. I don't know why with experimental poets. Then I think maybe it has something to do with what I do, no? Yeah. And it's not really like, oh, I'm gonna do this because I want to become an experimental poet. No, really, it's like I don't mind, as I said, failing, and I think it's part of the being experimental to fail. As that's what I understand. I mean, I don't understand experiment as an experimentalism, like I'm trying to reproduce what the avant-gardes did or whatever. I feel more like here I'm trying something. I don't know what it is really, and I think that affect is carried as well through these rhythms, and for me that's really experiment, because I don't really know how to do anything else. I would love to do other stuff, you know, like I always imagine myself like, I don't know, doing very cool things that I can't do, but you know, like that's it really. And the three languages that you said, really, I feel that I read different in different languages, but maybe not, because I'm not out to see myself or to listen. I feel that I have different projects as well. I feel that this project is following up from the book I published with VR, Entrar es tan difícil salir. I think this is like my Spanish rhythm, and I feel that Nino, for instance, was a continuation, no, from Al País Pintat, always with this, in Catalan, there's always this girl, this alter ego that talks, there's always a you, never an I, no, and I don't know, like maybe I'm seeing this after when I finish the book, almost like, but not really, oh, I'm gonna do that, not really. And yeah, the languages I guess have their own. If I'm reading in English and I write in English, I guess I convey, you know, what my readings, but also translate. Like a friend of mine said, "Oh my God, your Catalan poem of the first one of the book is in English, even though it's in Catalan." And that was like, why? And she said, "Oh, the syntax is English." I said, right, yeah, it is actually, yeah. And as the book goes, it transforms. It's not the same, but it's because I was in London and I was living in English all the time. So I'm trying to read from a language I'm not using, but it's my language. So I guess that in a way, and maybe it is interesting. Maybe at some point, no, because you mix different traditions and.
That reminds me an anecdote with our very good friend Kurt Folch. Like 15 years ago, a teacher, a professor at the university, was teaching some of his poems written in Spanish to the students. And the students were, well, this is really complex. We don't understand anything. It's really hard to get what he's saying. And the professor said, well, try translating in English, and they work perfectly. so it's like what you said, like the syntax of his poetry was kind of these different joints in between the words. And I also wanted to say I like very much what you said, that you are hanging out with some poets, but you don't necessarily do the same. And I like that very much, because there's also a lot of dogmatism in experimental poetry. There's a lot of conservative experimental poetry, or people that call themselves experimental, but they can be very conservative. And I think that, well, and a lot of the experimental poets I really like Joan Brossa, for example. He was a visual poet. He made performances, but he wrote sonnets and sixteens and whatever, and perfectly written. It's kind of stupid, like putting a huge separation between. This is normal. I love to joke with normal poetry, but I mean, there's a lot of really, really complex and crazy poetry written in in words that we use every day. I mean, you don't have to break the words to make something hugely, completely different. And I think part of your work has to deal with that. And some of the English poets, some of them are here, on a lot of them that I have been able to know because of you, that you have presented them, or our friend William Rowe or whatever, are in that kind of work. So that's really interesting. And the other thing that I wanted to ask you is part of your last work. You sent us a video that you recently made with Richard playing the electric guitar. How is that work going on? How is it evolving? How was that experience of combining your words, your reading, with this like sea of noise that was behind?
Yeah. We've been wanting to do a project together for a while, and now in lockdown, we decided to start. Not with a few arguments, but it is working, and I would prefer to have the space to do it properly, but with the kid it's been very difficult, and so the method is more like, okay, I have these poems and we want to like create a soundscape for them. So he kind of like creates that, and then after I hear what he's done, then I do the reading, and I change the poem. I've been changing the poem because of this.
That's great.
Like I'm like, oh, wait a second, this works, no? And normally we just do one or two tries because we don't have more time. So that's it's a bit rough. Yeah, it's not very, it's a bit rough, but I think why not? And also like, yeah, we've done two, and we would like to keep going and do the whole book like this.
Great. Oh, that's a wonderful project, and I hope that you keep working on that. It's amazing. Well, lots of you are very good friends with Jèssica, and I know that you want to talk with her. So please feel free to ask or comment whatever you want to say.
They're all in silence.
Hello.
They're overwhelmed. Gazal, she's always the first to ask.
No, Zoe was the first. I'm
Zoe, yeah.
But yeah,
please.
it's really...
Who's talking? I'm lost.
I don't know, maybe Zoe, but I can't.
But he's reverberating.
Yeah. Or she's trying to, well, she's making some poetry.
It's a very bad connection here, so yeah. And I really enjoyed listening to that, Jessie, and yeah, been doing.
Wow, that's a great sound, though.
Yes, perhaps I have a bad. Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't hear Zoe very well.
Okay, I'm going to. I will type. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. And I'll. That's great. Where are you, Martin and Joaquim? In a bar.
They look like reporters from the.
Yeah, exactly.
We are at the Baron Rouge, Red Baron. Do you listen something or not?
No.
Yeah, some of the noise.
Some of the noise.
Oh, that's great. Well, here's Zoe's question. I will ask the question here. Love the reading. I was wondering about rhythm and work. whether you are thinking of a kind of pressure on the working body.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I guess the pressure, obsession, no, cyclical rhythms that kind of like relax for a bit, but then enter in stress again. No? Enter in crisis. I guess yes, definitely. Yeah, exactly. It is interesting to when I first arrived, in England,
Really strongly, she says.
and I was in Brighton, and I was going to these chlorine readings, and I couldn't understand. Well, I was like, I was taken like. I was overwhelmed. Like I went to these chlorine readings, and there was like all these poets reading. I couldn't understand a word, or maybe one word or two, but I was like, what is going on? No, this is not a normal reading. These bodies are really doing something different. These rhythms are different, and I can hear this. And it's not the poetry I'm used to read, and I'm interested. I don't know why. And I remember knowing, so the poets that then after a few years became my friends, like I know their poetry through the rhythm more than what they were meaning. And now I can understand much more, but at the start I was like, oh yeah, of course, that's Jeff, and that's Tim, and that's like, you know, different, like Francesca, like different poets were there, like even Richard, you know, and different bodies, no, they were conveying different pressures, different things. Exactly, the body comes really strongly. Yeah, in the repetition. Yeah, I'm reading Zoe's comment. Yeah, definitely, and I think that now, if I'm reading in Spanish, I guess like from the other side, they are also getting a rhythm without understanding. No, it's interesting. It's interesting that you can like or dislike also a reading without understanding a word, you know. We can hear you.
I can't hear you, Zoe.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
Well, she says thanks. You broke.
The whole internet.
Thanks, Zoe. A couple of weeks ago, it was Martin Gavis who was making some poetry the same way.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
And
like
Gazal,
an alien language, right?
yeah, alien language. Or Luis or Gazal, who wanted to ask something. Gazal, please.
Okay. You were talking about rhyme. Hi, Jessica. It's
Hola, Luis.
nice to see you. Hola, ¿cómo te va?
Good.
Bien. You were talking about rhyme, and I was trying to listen tone all the time. I was trying to listen. What is the tone she's using in this poem? And trying to see, trying to hear if you are changing tones. I mean, tone is an intention in the text, right? But there's another tone that comes from the reading, and not all the times that tone is a semantic thing. So you have two tones when you read, the text tone and the reading tone. And I was trying to see if you were working with two tones or not. And I'm just asking you if you work on these two levels, if you are aware that you are using maybe two tones. In fact, the tone I perceived was kind of an ironic tone that is the substance of the text. I think so. I don't know. Because there's a, you know, maybe not only a subjective perspective, but there's a general perspective in the text. I think so. And there's the perspective of the employee too. So a social perspective. So all these perspectives probably make a semantic tone. That's what I think was the text. But I don't know if besides the semantic thing, you work on this other level of the reading, of the tone that the language, the voice and the language make by themselves. I'm sorry, maybe in English it's too hard to explain.
Yeah, it is difficult to answer because I haven't really analyzed it. But what I know is that there are different, I don't know, I guess tones and voices, definitely. Like as this subject and also what she reads, also the person that is next to her talking to her, then this supervisor talking. Of course, the subject is quite strong in this case, but there's also all these other voices coming in and out, I guess, and that's where it changes the tone, if you like. Yeah, and yeah, there's also like a subjugated, kind of like repressed voice in there that comes, as I say, from the future, because I'm doing it retrospectively, of course, but when that was happening, it was very silent and full of anger, if you want. Yeah.
But by the way, I'm not sure if this has to be with what Luis was talking specifically, but I was also thinking when, for example, when I heard your video, the one you sent us a couple of days ago, the first thing I noticed is that your pitch was a little higher than how you usually talk. I mean, and it's very common that we change the pitch depending of our poetry reading voice or more.
I told Richard, in fact, I asked him to put the volume down because I was so upset. You know, that's why I think that the pitch was higher, because I'm upset, you know, like, and I read I'm upset, you know, like this anger. It's like I remember what was happening. And I repeat it, and I didn't realize, because my first poem was a bit like the first that we recorded is a bit like the monotony that was created in this space. It was so boring. It's so boring. There's not a day thing like I ask for coffee. I look at them. I think I know how boring this is, you know, and this is still happening. I don't know, but this is like one of the tones, if you want. Exactly, it's monotony, you know. Oh man! So the reading is also like boring, if you want. And then there's also this other one with the goat. That is very upset, and I felt like really like raising to this mall and going up the top and jumping, you know. And I think that's more this anger, no, that comes out in a kind of volcano way, you know. So yeah, the pitch changes.
And I don't know, Gazal, you wanted to? It's funny. I keep doing like this
No,
as both of them.
because I was going to that. That's very nice of you. Thanks, Felipe. Yes, Jessica. So I think I followed your work perhaps since 2010, 11 till now, attending your readings and then reading your books. And one thing that is very interesting for me, apart from the tone and the rhythm of your reading and performing your work, is the role of image and in particular reflection in your works. You can find reflection in almost all of your books and your poems. And if even the word is not there, the meaning of reflection or sense that something is reflected is constantly repeated in your work. And the reflections are very interestingly kind of empty reflections. So it's not a through image that is reflected. So in your reflections, you don't see the reflections of self or the reflection of what's happening, the true sense of what is happening, but they are kind of or I might be wrong, I don't know, but I see so many reflections in your work that are not true reflections, but empty images. I wonder if those can be also a kind of representation of what you're doing in language, because you sometimes, in one of your very interesting poems, you were translating constantly Catalan and English to each other, which they were not true translations of each other, and they were constantly changing. So that, and then they were published, I believe there were 6 of them, like a mirror to each other, and they were reflections of each other, but none of them really reflected each other fully. So is that image
Oh my
and
goodness, I
reflection?
remember now. Yeah, this poem was a long time ago, right?
It was like 10 years ago or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. No, it's because I wrote it. I wrote it in Catalan, and I thought I could improve it in English. So I thought it would look cooler. And then when I did it in English, I was like, this is really bad. And then I realized how bad the Catalan was. And it's not the language, it was the poem that was bad. So what I did is I translated it back to Catalan, trying to improve that. And then I thought, well, this is fun, you know? And then I translated the Catalan back into English, and I did it again and again. So I ended up with 6 poems. And some people say the first one is the best. And some like, and I think none are very good. But the interesting, what happened there is like what happens in my work actually, but it's not shown, no? Like that they change and change and change. I completely forgot what I wrote and why did I wrote that. And then you go back to the poem that seems serious, and you're like, why is it? What am I talking about? I don't remember. Like I don't remember many things that happened through the day. So what I do is like I take it as text and material. If you want, I materialize it more. I detach from it, no, and then I work on that. And I guess like I end up with something completely different. And probably what I read today were like, I think it was like I don't know, many different poems that I cut and then I deleted and then I put together. So the process is very important. And maybe you end up with these images that come from different places, no? But yeah, and I think it's interesting thinking about reflection as losing these dimensions, and because you reflect on a mirror, no? And so all these dimensions kind of go flat, no? And this I'm interested in this flatness.
I even picked up well, I don't know Spanish, but even picked up the word reflection in your reading.
Yeah then yeah, it is there. I don't know where, but it is, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I was a
Yes. No, it's because in Spanish, no, I know what you mean. Because in Spanish, reflexión, like one day I said that in English at the beginning. I said like, oh, I was reflecting. And they're like, what are you doing? You're reflecting? Because in Spanish, reflecting is to think.
Yeah, okay.
Like I was thinking, no?
Yes.
So I said, I said that because I is trying to think and it's like interrupted constantly.
But that also might confirm the point that reflections are you for kind of corresponds with languages as they are reflections of each other.
Yeah.
You know, this is the way of thinking and going through them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just going to ask something. Hey, Jessica.
Hi, Reese.
Yeah, when you said about a Spanish poem having like English syntax in it, I totally know what you mean, because like a lot of Welsh has acquired English syntax, you know, because of the media or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wondered if you've ever played with that, and it sounds like the poem that Ghazal was talking about is sort of playing on this, where you try and lay out the syntax or demonstrate the hidden syntax from another language or other idiomatic part of a language as you lay it out on the page by translating one into the other. Do you ever try and show that process? Or?
Well, what I'm trying is to do it because as William Rowe once said, in Spanish, this hasn't been done yet. So this kind of, we're too scared or too, what's it called? Subordinate, what's called subordinadas, no? We make these long sentences and we love that. And to break that and, you know, like, of course, that's something I think of. I don't think much more, but it's something that I like thinking about. How can I break this, creating 3 meanings at the same time that, you know, that maybe you really fast and there's no meaning here. So like, I think that in English, because it's maybe more dynamic, we are very, still like very tied to Latin, no? I think it's more dynamic and you, I feel it freer. I feel freer when I write in English even. But yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, it's fun to show that alienness. So you could write, you know, like a really long line in English and then try and bring the choppy syntax of English into Spanish.
Yeah.
It's a fun game, yeah, to focus on that alien thing, you know, and try and bring it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you more a different question, not so much about your poetry, but your experience in the different poetic circles or contexts in different countries. I mean, you have been participating with books published at least in Catalonia, Spain, England, and Chile, at least. I don't know if you have published, well, and you have participated in readings in other countries, of course, but I mean, you know quite well different poetic or literary contexts. But I wanted to ask you, how do you see if there's any difference in the kind of poetic performances or poetry readings in those different contexts? For example, The first time I went to a poetry reading in the States, I was really impressed that you had to pay. I mean, $5 or $10, and also that the poet was paid. I just couldn't believe that. I mean, in Chile, you have to pay to your friends to please go and don't leave you alone. And only the only goal of the poetic reading is to get drunk. But I was very impressed once that I went to a poetry reading. I don't know if it was in a cycle in New York, that it was like going to the theater, and there were really fine performances and well organized, and two poets reading. I mean, everyone hearing, and yeah, it was not like those messy readings that everyone's talking and making noise. But I don't know, it was that experience in the States. How do you, you have been in poetry readings in Chile, of course, and if there's any comparison that you like to propose or difference?
Yeah, I think there are all kinds of readings in different countries, like you know, the Catalan scene was you know, they work with they're quite formal. It's quite formal at the moment.
Same.
And yes.
Yeah.
I've been trying, and there is probably there are different. Probably there are readings that are not this formal, but I'm not there to. I haven't seen them. You know what I mean? Like even the reading that is most experimental is in a very kind of like cool place, and you know, with you know, you have to pay the ticket to get in. I was like, what? How? It's crazy to pay 10 euros to get into a poetry reading. I was quite amazed, and it's not voluntary. You know, it's like you have to pay to see it. Like it's just something serious. And reading that some readings I've done there, I've been paid quite well. So it's not a bad thing. It's just different. And also maybe these poets, then they have readings that we don't know. And they have more messier, in different bars. But as I see it, even the readings at L'Original, which is everyone wants to read there, and it's always full of people, are quite formal. You know. Then the English scene for me started more in pubs, and with donations. They normally don't ask you to pay to get in. There are donations, but of course I'm not. There is also the Catalan scene, because it's smaller, right? In England you have all this like variety of poets and different circles, different scenes, and probably there is the scene that is formal and you have to pay for, but I'm not in that scene, so I don't know. I guess the mainstreamers are more like that. But then there is what we do is normally like pubs, and now because pubs, if they are very noisy, and then we move to a venue. But normally pubs and universities that they give their own space, and we do whatever we like there. It's a bit more informal, and sometimes you get paid as well. And in Chile, I've never been paid to read. And it's been also in bars, and in universities and in locales, in different. Yeah, and I guess there's also like a mainstream scene that is taking things more seriously. Probably, I think it's more about the scene than the country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like difficult to have a scene, a rough scene at the moment. It's quite conservative.
Well, let's say hi to a very special guest. We have Gala.
Oh, Gala! This is my daughter.
Jèssica,
Gala.
Enrique's daughter. Hi, Gala. He's our really special guest.
That's so strange to see her. I wasn't expecting it.
And Maca, your very dear friend and neighbor, Maca, wants to make you a question.
Hola, ¿me escucháis?
Blah.
Okay. Hi everyone. More than a question, más que nada, how do you conceive the experimental versus or not versus with the lyric in your poetry, but also in the way you read poetry, you study poetry, you comprehend, understand it, reflect, and then about the poem you read that I really like, I think that, I don't know, correct me if you're working with different, not only sounds, but voices, words, ambience, movement, images, and your role there was like registering all of that. And I wonder how, well, you talk about a little bit about the process, but how you remember all those sounds. Like I could feel that I was inside that, sorry, the noise here, inside the coffee shop. Okay, eso.
Yeah, I guess there are different questions here. The first one, I think that Felipe answered before asking, and I think it's something that we're all thinking about, no? Like how, what's lyrical, what's experimental? Is there really like a border between the lyrical and the experimental, or is the new lyrical what's happening? Tim Atkins says there is no experimental poetry, there is good and bad poetry. You know, like, I don't know. As I said, I understand experiment as like Montaigne understood the essays as something that is a tryout, something that you do, you know, you don't know what to expect really. If without that element, I wouldn't be writing. I consider myself quite a controlling person, but this is my space for not controlling, you know, for letting it go. And without that, as I say, like I wouldn't be interested. And I guess with this unknown element is what the experiment's about for me. It can be with words, it can be with sounds, it can be with images. Maybe one day I start just like doing sounds and that's all, you know, like, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. It could happen. But I don't like to create these separations, as Felipe said. I don't like to be, this is conservative poetry, this is lyrical poetry, this is experimental poetry. As he said, some experimental poets are very conservative, you know. Some are doing sounds that we've been hearing since the 20s, you know, like the 1920s. And so like, I don't think it is about a particular, like this difference, no, between experiment and experimentalism.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, totally. And and the other thing that you are saying is to recreate what's in that space, no? I think that's a bit like I really like James Joyce, no? Like all this, like Beckett, this this kind of even Proust, no? And I'm trying to read Proust. I've been trying to read all his works, and I think it is a bit there as well. So I guess it's yeah, this ambience, no, of like recreate this ambience that it was really happening, and I'm really happy that you could hear it. This is amazing. Thanks. That's.
Yeah. Hi, Jess.
Hello.
Hola, Jessica.
Hola.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah. About the question of Maca, I was thinking that, and I agree with Sue about the thing of the bodies and the work, and it took me to a certain mood. It made me think in Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad series. Have you seen them? Yeah? Where the exploitation of bodies and the routines are always at the fore, both as a critic and as a sacralization of for the sake of excellence. I thought that maybe this kind of ambient that you can recreate, but actually each one recreates in its own mind. I mean, I have my references, and I thought about the series with your poem, but it could be another thing. I thought about maybe like interartistic references for you in this kind of. I thought about a series of Netflix, but maybe you could have also other images of maybe movies, or I don't know. That was kind of my question.
I'm expecting, actually, I'm waiting for the day that we turn a poem into a series. Honestly, it's like, it's not that crazy. I've read poems, like contemporary poems, that could be seriously like a series or an idea for it.
Of course, yeah. Original idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jèssica Pujol.
Come on, bring it on. It's the people who are making the money. They are making the money, not that. I'm joking, but yes. I guess it's what Maka was saying. No, it's like this. And I'm really glad that there is something that you can feel, right? That is like moving. That's what the intention is. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and relating to that, I guess we have been talking very much about the different influences or context in because of you living in different countries and languages, but also as you talk about TV series, for example, which other elements influence your writing? Goodbye, Sophie.
Bye, Sophie.
Well, see you soon in one of these talks, by the way.
Ciao, Sophie.
I wanted to know if there are some other reference other than poetry. Of course, you mentioned TV. Just as Richard, for example, is deeply influenced by cricket. I mean, sometimes we have influence that has nothing to do with poetry or literature. Do you have other places that you are getting ideas or elements?
Well, definitely. Like, in fact, this is one of the poems of the book, but the rest of the poems are poems about being in different spaces. One is a poem about buying a TV, of which I had an amazing experience. I never had a TV before, and it was like incredible, something to write about. So, and also seeing, of course, David Attenborough talking BBC and all going on. So all this documentary kind of like talk gets in, and also the talking of the internet, kind of selling you things, comparative of prices, and but of course, how can you not write, like if this is what you consume,
Yeah.
So in a way, it's about consuming, right? Like there's a poem about being in the bank, like it's always like in this queue, waiting for your turn, and all the text that surrounds you, is about. It's a very nice text, like trying to be super nice to you, and so it's something that makes you think, and there's a poem about that. So like I think that definitely the book has references to all these kind of texts that surrounds us today.
It's like our friend Carlos Cosiña, a Chilean poet, lots of you know him and
Yes.
admire his poetry. He talks about writing poetry while their sons were watching TV. So it was always like a contamination of some sentences, some words that were getting inside the poem. And when you read his poetry, also it's like this mix of scientific text and it's
of
kind of
course.
appropriation, but
Yeah.
very random. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not. Yeah, it's like taking the intention of the appropriation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's like it is really there. And more than it is contamination, but there's no such a thing as purity. And
I was thinking it's like we always talk about and use the stream of consciousness, but this is like a stream of what you're hearing. I mean, like what's getting inside in different order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the context defines us.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's why I said like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by some poets. That must define.
Yeah, exactly. They get their way into the poetry. Right. Well, guys, do you have another questions, commentaries?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. Yeah, right, Jess. Well, one's a kind of question / request, and then there's also a more substantive question. The first simple one is like, I like your work a lot, so I'd love to see all those things translated. Is there any plan to see it translated? Because although it sounds amazing, and with the tone and things, I'd like to get more of the semantics of it. The other thing is so it seems like you're working often now with image too, and collaborating on those kind of things. And so what's the whole process with you with collaboration, to put it simply? I mean, does it happen sort of the only time I've really, well, no, that's wrong.
Yeah, no,
but you know, how does it work with you and your collaborators? And how, what's it like working more increasingly with visual stuff?
Yeah, I find it very interesting to collaborate. I started collaborating, I think, in 2000 something, 10 or 11, and it was something that I did, and it was a thing with Sarah Kelly. We did this anti-ode that she translated, and then while she was translating it, she got into the poem so much that poem has never been the poem I wrote ever again. And we performed it even. It turned into a performance. Imagine, like, it's our poem, no? And our performance. And I think that's brilliant because it puts you out of like your own boredom, no, and your own self, and you have other ideas. You become someone that you didn't expect, no, like you do something that you weren't expecting. Different kinds of collaborations, like with Sarah Torres, we did also a different kind of collaboration, like when I wrote in English, she wrote in Spanish, answering to that poem, and we performed that together, also very performative. I don't know, different. This is I'm thinking now with Richard is very different as well. It's like sound, no. The image we normally steal it because we steal it from the internet. But normally we think about just one image and kind of repeating it. And that thing that they translated the poem into dance, well, that's the ultimate, right? Like amazing. In my dreams, I was a dancer, and to see that is like, oh, that's what I should have done with my life, you know. But yeah, it is amazing to see that. That for me is yes, you know, because movement, rhythm, no. Translates the essence of this text. So yeah, it is a very thank you for the question, because it's really like something I like to work with.
So there's the elevator shaft one, there's the goat one, there's the dance one, and there's the train one. Are any of these being translated?
Oh, I see what you mean. The translations. Well, we translated the enveloping field. Maybe you have it from Creator. Is Richard sending you the creators?
I tell him I haven't.
Do you have a subscription, Chris? No, I'm joking. But you have it, right? You have a subscription.
Yeah, but I don't have that book, I don't think. But anyway,
Okay.
it would be translations of all those ones that you put videos out of. They're interesting pieces, I think.
Yes, yes, you're right. And maybe we will do it. At
One
the
day.
moment, I don't have time. I don't normally translate. I mean, someone like Richard translated it and he changed the whole poem. But yes, no. If he wants to do it, I let him do it.
Yeah, all right. Just a request.
Hey, Jessica, how are you? Carlos here.
Carlos.
So good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I was thinking, when you're writing, which is like the first or like the main goal? Is it like the poem itself, or are you do you write thinking in the performance, or is something that it comes later on? We were talking in a different meeting with Douglas Kearney was talking about this kind of dichotomy between the page and the stage, because I guess he was coming from the or he was referring to the slam poets, that they obviously give more importance to what's going on in the stage.
Yeah.
But since, I mean, you start like with the page first,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, how do you assess that? I mean, it's something that you start thinking about that when you're creating, or it comes like, or you will see like in a way?
No, I can't. Yeah.
How does it work for you?
Yeah, it's poetry started being an impulse for me, and it's still an impulse. And it's nothing that I wanted to be or become or do, and it just keeps happening. And it's happening more or less depending on, the year or whatever, the season. But it is something that happens on the page, and it's something that happens in silence normally, and something that I guess it has to be read also. I'm always wrote for you to be on your own reading this, at some point. Not when I perform it, not when we are all reading about, but at some point to be you and the text. That's yes, in that sense, very traditional, kind of like one-to-one, if you want. But of course, the performance opens up the possibilities, and that came after. I never thought I would be, I was too shy, and I never thought I would be performing or reading, no way. I had a big resistance to that. I started doing when I turned 30, imagine. And it's been a very interesting journey, something, as I said, I wasn't expecting, and more maybe, yes, there is, I'm thinking about the performance, but not, but always without intention. I like readers that when you see, like Francis Krug, I'm seeing, and it's Francis so much, she's not thinking I'm going to perform my poem, she's performing it. And I like that, like Felipe, or like you, I mean, it's very it's like I associate this voice to this performance, and it's not like something artificial or something that I'm trying to do, that I thought about it too much. No.
But in my case, Jessica, I always use my robot voice. So.
but that's how I think you. I read your poetry like that, because it sounds like that as well, right? The questions, not for me, it's still a voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
and
to.
Jessica, I don't know if you already mentioned this, but probably I missed it. But in your creative process, because I recognize you as like a Catalan native and a Spanish native, but when you write poems in English, do you write them directly in English, or do you translate, or is it a combination of both? How does it work for you?
And as I said, I never translate my poems unless it is for like a process and an experiment. So my Catalan book is not translated into any other language, or my English book It's not translated. My Spanish book is translated because William Rowe translated it into English. But no, I don't normally. So I write in the language. I write in English because I was there, and after 6 years of being there, I started writing in English because it just happened. So this impulse I was talking about, it came out in English. And I don't make much sense in English, and I think that's interesting as well, because you control less, and the less, I like that. I think it's less of, I know less what's going on, and I think that's a good thing.
Jessica, I don't know if anyone has another question, but I'd like if you can read us some of your different working in maybe in Catalan or in mixed language, if you have it at hand.
Okay, in Catalan or in
Catalan, for example, so we can understand less than before.
Okay. Let's see if I can open this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to read the last poem of Nino. It's the epilogue. It has an epigraph by Miquel Martí i Pol that says, un conjunt de fils ben trenats és una corda. Una manera de moure els dits, quelcom que no esperava, sons que aquí recomencen s'encenen a la memòria, veus que inscric i s'inscriuen i ens expliquen així com veus i formes tu, aquí, entre tu i jo, un intercanvi de paraules. Aquí el gest és de curt abast, aquí els espais són reduïts, aquí a fora com a dins, ni no, aquest és un intent, una còpia del demés i només ella, intensa i lluminosa i lleugera i superficial, i fresca i abundant, i seca i profunda, i humida i seca i vella i escasa i vella i distesa. Brolla de la font primera, forma remolins que brillen sota els palpissos que es troben i copulen i es divideixen en dos hemisferis que es retrobaran tard o d'hora, abans o després, en algun indret, entremig, potser. Ni no, de nou el somni se'ns en passa, no era un parany, així són les coses. Tal vegada diries que la seva elaboració és enrevessada, però sempre l'imaginant és així, de sobte se'ns qualla un pacte d'ombres separades. Ni no a mig camí, no pel llarg, ni no al mig, no de costat, ni no per dura, no aquí amb mi, ni no, ni tu, ni jo, nosaltres, ni no, no només no, ni a tot sot, ni a tot sí, tampoc. Ni no, no tot no, ni sempre sí, ni no, ni només, ni res més, ni no, no res i si tot també, ni no, notes per a tu i per a mi, ni no, ho notes, sirenes, ni no, ni no. That's the last poem of the book.
Yeah. And that is a poem that if you don't understand Catalan, you get at least the rhythm, which is more percussive. It's like ni no, ni no, ni no. It's like more. It's different than what you read before. Yeah, well, you know, I love that book, that poem especially. Yeah, and
like the alarm, no, the alarm and the sirens, and also the song of the sirens, no, that the kind of like. Yeah, I would like to be doing what Martin is doing.
Yeah, well, that's what I just wanted to say, that I read this is exactly the moment to start making some noises. So it's to do whatever.
Where's Joaquin? Yeah.
Is it Joaquin or Martin?
The bots. The both of us. Joaquin, hola.
I think they're trying to light up a cigarette.
Yeah. It's taking some time.
Oh, there you go.
Super demarcate, intoxicate, text well, reflection or chanda commerce veranda camber, paranormal mantle, merkin, reduct touch cough, each up appearance, Caesar echo stamp, caliphates, excuse what is, tridial, tradi, interchamber, dictate, horn, manner from rimmed classification, support, plantation, cation,
conciencia serpentina, cuerpo,
body, echo, twice,
hablar, exhalar, verbo del material, sintaxis.
form, dance, birch,
Esto no es un
smoke,
capricho,
figurative,
esto no es un capricho.
you love, power, anger,
Realidad pasa, pues es
char,
dar, apagar.
corpse, formate, velocity, repetition,
Show, open your eyes, abra las puertas.
guide,
Escenario supervisor, mexicano, no tiene leche, mamando las amarillas. Es mana, por la distancia.
C'est toi qui m'as dit. Qui m'a dit. C'est toi qui m'as dit. Baby. Oh, hey. Hey. Hey.
Hey.
Opening.
Hey. Hey.
Yeah. Yes. More. Med. Ideal. Wave, wave, mare riding over this flowing water, salting salt.
Solving salt. Solving salt.
Solely, 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 solely,
Era Vasconcelos qui faisait un espèce de touch.
One point. Together.
There's the baby. Baby, 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 baby.
From the source.
Pleurer ici, là. Ah, wow, wow.
know. Silent alarm. Repetition, velocity. Formative corpse. Within prepares. Dark Adelaide. Death. Angled hour. W number. Angle meter 30. Plateau plastic work. Behavior dance uniform. Word. Okay. Control body. Hospitalization. Assassin's range. From manor. Lactate. Interchamber. Die. Entails. Use. Celebrate. Stamp. Ex Paradiso. Appearance of beach. Coffee. Touch. Merkin. Paranormal. Miranda. Patmos. Well. Intoxicate. Demarcate.
Thank you, Jessica.
Gracias.
Here are the claps.
Okay, Felipe, can we make like a 1 hour of silence? And you put it like a recording, like just an hour of silence. Everyone is sit down, and we are in an hour of silence.
I mean, you don't have to stay here. I just have to keep going the recording. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jessica. It was great seeing you and Gala. Hi, Gala.
Gala, linda.
Gala.
And well, I hope we can have you here very soon, right? In Chile.
Yes, I'm coming tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Wow, this is great. Fantastic.
I'm arriving on Saturday, so it's going to be a long journey.
Have a nice trip, and we'll be waiting you very warmly here. And well, thank you everyone. And as Martin says, I'll keep this thing going on for a while, just white screen and silence. So probably this will be the longest session of the. Ciao, Gala.
Bye. Bye, lindo.
See you soon.
See you next Wednesday. Same place, same time.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Jess.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.